Alright, so we're starting off this home base report coverage with a bit of casual gameplay. I'm just hanging out with Archer because they updated all of the invasion weapons and they all got buffed. Yes, that includes the Discharger. The ammo cost went from 3 to 30. We'll talk about all this in a second, but I want to check out the third rail because when you charge it up to max, it triples the damage. And these are Archer's numbers, so I'm putting him on the hook for this, but I'm calling this the strongest weapon in the game because it's doing the most. Now, if you could just face me, we want to get that headshot. So if we charge it up to full, boom, 2 million damage. Now, this is not a loadout. I'm just using a clip build because I'm using all the different weapons together. If you guys want more focused gameplay together with the different weapons... Okay, that guy just disappeared. 1.6 million. More focused footage. I will be covering that later. You might be hearing my morning voice right now. It is very early. I should definitely be asleep, but I really wanted to cover this. So, yeah, we're just going to be taking a very rudimentary first look on these. The third rail hits really hard now. I'm not somebody who believes a sniper should be a loadout. You can see that this weapon cannot be your primary loadout. I know you want me to run it with like totally rocking out and a bow build altogether, a sniper build altogether, but I don't think that's fitting to this weapon. But either way, I just want to take a cursory look. The shooting star not only has a fancy graphic, which according to Archer came in with the last update and I didn't even realize, but it shoots for significantly longer now. You can see this is a lot more usable. Still overheats pretty quick, but it shoots about 13 times a second. That makes a bit of sense. And I'm pretty sure you can still dual wield these. Oh man, that actually charges up really fast. So yeah, I'm assuming you can switch off between these two just like before, but that's still a little too quick in my opinion. Again, this is a first look. We're just having a bit of fun here. So let's move on to what's the most interesting weapon? Oh yeah, the Pulse Pounder. So the Pulse Pounder has a 4x multiplier to the head. I'm going to go find a suitable enemy because these enemies are just going to get one-shotted and I think we need a bigger target. Now, to those who didn't see my Fortnite run, Archer showed me that you can pause OBS while recording, and it's my new favorite thing. Look at that damage, though. Again, no build buffing this. Aiming at the head while ADS, you can see when I'm not ADS, it's kind of, you know, not that good damage. But ADS does a 4x multiplier, which with this bogus loadout in Archer in my game is about 200,000. That's insane. All right, we got a big boy right here. Look at the damage. Again, no build. I cannot wait to get some sleep and bring this into a 160 because that accuracy, whew, there's no group damage on this, but that is really, that's what this weapon needed. I talked about this a lot in my first look videos. I'll link them all down below. I covered this a ton. In fact, let me just step away from these guys and just show you guys what I'm referring to here. I covered all these weapons in depth and it was... a lot of coverage. I swear I set this monitor before I started recording. But yeah, I looked at all these weapons initially, and a lot of the feedback I gave was crowd clearing on the AR is non-existent, and it needs more damage. They at least went for more damage, and I'm really happy to see that. But I think we're all ready to see the Discharger, so I'm going to run back to that encampment, and we'll see what it can do. So, the changes to this weapon were this. 1. The damage went down by 5%, which in my opinion is basically like doing nothing at all. 2, you can see the ammo is 30 now instead of 3, and ooh, that actually charged up kind of quick. That felt clean. That wasn't too bad at all. It actually fires a faster projectile too. But look at that. It just annihilates no matter what. Again, I'm using a bogus build. I've only got Archer in here. This is not a full party. It's a ridiculously strong weapon as well. And while I back away to let that encampment reset, I want to show you guys one other thing that they did. You might have noticed I have a damage to miss monsters perk up here. You can no longer run a mag size reload on this. That was always a bug. But now you can run double damage to miss monsters instead of a damage perk up there. Now, I think that's a clear buff. That is one of the reasons I'm saying they buffed the Discharger, because that damage perk is nice. 30% is whatever. But you can see these normal enemies are not having a good time with this weapon. It kills them very easily. In fact, these enemies just, there's no reason to have a damage perk on this. You can see this is all with double damages to miss monsters and bosses. Like, this is a ridiculous amount of carnage for a bogus build, not a full party, unoptimal perks for regular zombies. I think I need to go find a bigger target because this weapon is so much stronger now. All right, we had to load into a new game, but we got a Smasher and a regular Miss Monster. Archer's back in, same Discharger as before. Look at that damage. Okay, come see, this is just the same thing that happened before this update. The Discharger is so weird, where sometimes it just doesn't do anything, and then other times it kills immediately. But look at that projectile going up nice and quick. Smasher only got hit once. It got hit once for like a fifth of its health. It's running off the map with that slow perk, really making this a tough thing to showcase, but wow. What the hell? That's a Smasher killed like it was nothing. All right, I'm over here with Archer. He wanted to showcase the Pulse Pounder versus an AR, versus a Smasher with an AR build. So, oh, he's got Tully Rock and Outgoing too. That's actually not as impressive as I expected, but with the slow as well, that's really, really good. Oh, and we got a Mist Monster. I gotta bully the Mist Monster with the Discharger. The Discharge, all these weapons. The Discharger's exciting. The Pulse Pounder is usable. This weapon keeps doing, like, nothing until it one-shots. This is incredibly satisfying. Oh my god, there's more Mist Monsters. Ah! I'm running away. I'm hiding from the others, taking a long time to charge up. One thing that they also changed that we'll talk about later on in this video is they lowered the radius as well. So it doesn't affect as much of an area, but I think that's completely fine. This is totally balanced. I want to bully one more Smasher, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the Homebase report. You said you were doing 260,000 on those headshots? That's ridiculous. I cannot wait to bring that to the 160s. Again, Smasher takes no damage until it dies immediately. God, this weapon is so weird, but undeniably incredibly strong. So I'm going to load out of this game. Thank you, Archer, for hanging out with me. We're going to go read this Homebase report, and I think we could just go straight into that. So, at first, I was going to go through the entire Homebase report, just, you know, everything shown prior, but because we've just spent the great beginning of this video talking about the weapon changes, let's cut to that, and then I'll talk about the rest of it. So, this is what it says in the Homebase report, as written by Epic, aka Freight Train. So, the Pulse Pounder added a large 4x headshot damage bonus while you're aiming down the sights, as we showed, and then increased damage against husks and the environment. A reduced weapon impact to compensate. Increased damage against husks and the environment. So, did they buff the damage to the weapon? I think. I don't know. It seems definitely stronger. And the environment is good too, because if you need to shoot through a rock or something, you can get through that a lot quicker. And then they reduce the weapon impact to compensate, which is fine. Usually I don't care that much about impact, but when you're dealing with high level targets like the Smashers or the, you know, the Mist Monsters, impact can be nice to stun them, but as you saw with Archer's freezing, it is completely fine. Shooting Star, increased heat capacity so it can fire much longer bursts. As we saw, I still think it overheats a little too quickly. They, by the way, do not have any heat capacity perks on this. So this is something I can show in the menus now. There are still no perks in correspondence to the fact that this is a heat weapon, meaning there's no cooldown, there's no heat capacity. That would be really good on this weapon. I would highly recommend a heat capacity over a damage perk if that were a thing, but I digress. Let's just continue. Slightly reduced damage against husks to compensate. I guess that makes sense. You shoot longer, does slightly less, but the damage per shot wasn't that high before, so I don't know if this weapon's perfect, but yeah, significantly increased damage against the environment. Again, if an enemy is standing behind something like a rock or a car, that could be nice to get through. Then the third rail. Damage no longer falls off. I didn't know it did that. I don't like that. Damage now increases up to 4x as you charge up. Did I get that backwards, Archer? Is it 3x headshot for the Pulse Pounder AR?
It's 4x for the Pulse Pounder and 4x for the third rail.
Okay, 4x for both. I guess that works for me. And then they increase the magazine capacity from 1 to 3, which is a small buff, but it's nice because reloading every single shot was just a nerf this weapon didn't need, and I think 3 is a little bit more reasonable. And then it reduced the point blank damage against husks, which is interesting. So it does more damage at range, or is that just the base damage they're referring to? I don't know. They're like weirdly vague about this, where they say large headshot damage bonus, but then they tell us 4x down here. I wish Epic would just tell us what they did, but increased damage against the environment, so you can break walls, and that makes sense because you shoot through them as well. Increased headshot damage, as we saw, and the knockback magnitude, which is really great, because when you're firing very slow and charging up with this weapon, staggering, stunning, knocking back an enemy, it can be a nice thing to do while you line up your next shot. And then there was a bug with these 3 weapons listed here where the durability was basically the normal one for Brightcore. So actually, I recycled my schematic, so I can't show you. I recycled my weapons, but the durability was 375 when it was Shadow Shard or Sunbeam, which it is not supposed to be. It's supposed to be 300, and they fixed that. So you will probably have some legacy variants of these weapons as they have different perks and different durabilities. enjoy it, I guess. I consider it less bag space, but it's there and you got it now. And then it removed incompatible perks, which we showed and saw. I can't decide on words right now because I'm supposed to be asleep like 3 hours ago. And then the Discharger, as we saw, very slightly reduced the damage, 5%. Slightly reduced the impact area, which, as we saw, is still pretty good. I haven't noticed that to be a major issue so far, but you've seen all my testing, so you make up your own mind with that. Decrease the time its projectile lasts after hitting a player-built structure, which makes sense. Increase the ammo cost to a very reasonable 30. This thing is way stronger than the deatomizer while being cheaper. Thank you, Epic. And then in addition, they provided a reset for the Discharger because the other three just got buffed. The Discharger is honestly still buffed because they say they reduced the damage, and they did, but they gave it a perk option that, in my opinion, is just a clear improvement. So we might as well talk about the bug fixes while we're here and then get on to the rest of it. They fixed an issue where the reticle would scale in the opposite direction of the HUD. So for those of you who are stuck with a giant cursor on your screen, it's fixed. It's finally fixed. They also fixed an issue that caused the game to freeze indefinitely on loading screens. I know a lot of my viewers had that happen to them. Weapons with charge-up mechanics will now reliably have the correct damage multiplier when fired at max charge. I believe that might refer to all the bows as well, because when they draw back. So that's kind of a nice thing. Text has been restored to blank dialogue windows. So I know when I was running expeditions, the confirm for the expeditions was blank, where it was supposed to say yes. So I'm glad that they fixed that minor bug. And then the Denizens Homebase report found the holiday ornaments. So that's a fun way of saying that when you go to the armory section, we have the holiday decorations, which Archer says has been gone for 4 years.
Yeah, it hasn't been back since 2018. It's also on all the tabs now. That
sounds too long, but regardless, I'm glad to see it. I still want to organize the back wall here. For those of you who don't know, it's rating, as in legendary, mythical, 144 on top of that, and then it's alphabetized. So I have a 144 cannonade, which is a C, and then the mythic weapons, and then my vacuum tube bow, and these are the weapons that are super. I would love to organize which of these show back here, but again, that's a problem for another day. Now, on to the part of the Homebase report that very few of you care about, but we'll talk about it anyway. If for those who just want the big brain skip ahead, the yearly timeline, I link it in every video, basically has everything covered. The pain train's coming back around. We got the Ginger Blaster coming back around, but I'll read it anyway, just because some of you might like my morning voice. So, challenges week 3. New Wave Holiday is coming out December 11th, so stay tuned for this, coming out 2 days ago. This is going to be really exciting when it happened already. We actually, not only did it come out, but I already ran the New Wave Holiday, and that's up on the channel. So if you guys want to go enjoy that, there you go. I'll try to remember to link it down below. That run was really fun. We used the Discharger pre-nerf buff. What do you call this? It's like it got an ammo nerf, but a damage buff. I'll take it. We used the Discharger while we could, and we expected worse things to come to it, but that was really, really fun. And that unlocks Jingle Jess. She's a duplicate hero of Metal Team Leader and Enforcer Grizzly. Not a unique hero. I don't know what they're doing there. Ice Queen, super standard. It freezes with the Seismic Smash. That's kind of fun, but the support perk is really not that good. So yeah, Coco 45 is one that has a soft spot in my heart because I kicked off my Fun 160 series with the Coco 45. This was the old story where you could see it in the video. I did not know it could have like triple crit damage, and I did not know that brought it up to a 705% crit damage with Beetlejuice in the lead. Woo! Fun video, kicked off a long series that I still enjoy making. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for stuff you guys want me to cover, let me know, because I have a lot of fun with those. Jelly Teacup coming around. You guys can read all these bonuses, by the way. 100% crit chance against new targets. It's a fun teddy perk. I use her in support quite often. She also unlocks Happy Holidays, which is an extremely, extremely good team perk. So definitely a must-have hero. Superheated is not something we've covered yet because it hasn't come out this year, but we have covered it in 2021. So if you guys want to go see Superheated, I'll try to link it down below, but this playlist is on the channel. Very, very fun. It's that dome of heat that you can't build inside of and you take damage inside of. It's a very fun take on Frost Night, and it unlocks the Ginger Blaster, which is there if you want it. I ran triple crit damage Ginger Blaster. It did not blow my hair back, but I'll link this video down below if you guys want to check it out. I'll also link the best perks for the Ginger Blaster, because why not? Same deal with Pain Train. I'll link the best perks, and I ran at triple crit damage. Not the same in the way of the damage. This performed a lot better than the Ginger Blaster, but it's an insanely strong AR, so not really surprised there. Special Delivery is also coming out, and that one, once again, you have the blue glow pylons, where you just have to defend those, and then they drop blue glow. It's a really easy modifier, and I don't know what the award is there. It says Ted, but that isn't he in the llamas?
Yeah,
feel like that's a really weird reward. You can just get as many Teds as you want. I don't know. One thing I didn't know when I read this is apparently his commander perk heals you. I was not aware of that, actually. I must have written that off as not that useful the first time I ever saw it, and then I never thought about it again, and now I can't see him in my loadouts because I'm blind and I've been awake too long, and I usually can't even see these when I'm... You know what? I'm just going to use that pause feature and go find him. Okay, in real time, that took like 2 seconds, but here he is. Yeah, that absolutely heals you. I don't think that makes him a great commander, because you can just eat a coconut first. Not only will it heal you, but it'll give you damage as well. But hey, it's something Beast didn't know. Santa's Little Helper is also coming along, and it is a very strong launcher. In fact, if you go to Fortnite DB, you can go to the database. Yeah, I bugged Cavson for so long to fix this, and I'm so glad he did. Santa's Little Helper is the strongest multi-element group damage launcher in the game. I know there's a couple of asterisks on that, but Wrath and Potshot are both mainly single target. I mean, I know you can charge the Wrath. I know the Potshot technically can hit groups, but it explodes on proximity, so it's really tough. Metal Marauder, locked to physical and fire. Super strong, though. Super strong. Sodbuster can be multi-element. I'll give you that. But its main damage comes from those 6 perks that buff it against elemental targets. Still very strong. Don't let me talk it down too much. I'm just saying it's still situational. Santa's Little Helper, in my opinion, is like the highest up basic launcher. It can be any element. Affliction 6 perk is super strong, explodes in a crowd, kills them all dead. Super, super useful. I use this against shielders very often, and I just run it physical because it just works. Your main targets are mist monsters, and they're mostly physical anyway. And if you're going up against a smasher, you really shouldn't be spamming a launcher anyway. A main weapon like a shotgun or an SMG or an AR is actually going to be better for long-term sustained damage. Santa's Little Helper, or any launcher that's not the Potshot or Wrath, is going to be an extremely expensive way to take out a smasher. So what I'm saying is, Santa's Little Helper, very good. It is highlighted in red for a reason. This is a must-grab launcher. I still use it all the time. You guys have been seeing it in my recent Fun 160s. I use it against shielders, like I said. Very, very good for that. Top It Off is also coming around. For those of you who are maybe curious why they've scheduled so many things in advance in this Homebase report, it's because Epic is going on break for the holidays. So they're just telling us all the things that we already knew. So Top It Off, I believe the storm closes in faster and the storm does more damage. Eat a coconut, you'll be good to go. It's not complicated, and it gives you one of the worst weapons in the game. Frostbite Sniper is unremarkable in every single way, other than the camo, which is really, really nice. Red Willow exists. So yeah, I'm not even going to dignify her with much more than that. Woo! They buffed all the invasion weapons. Again, I need some sleep and some proper time to stream and flesh these weapons out, and I've got a date night with the girl tonight, and so I don't think that'll happen today as of recording, but Tuesday morning, or at least definitely Wednesday, I am going to have to really dissect all of this. But at a first look, first glance, the Pulse Pounder is great. It still is going to struggle with group damage, but realistically, you can just run Pulse Pounder in the lead, Baron as your movement as usual, and then Discharger as your secondary, and anytime you're having crowd clearing problems, just shoot the Discharger. The Pulse Pounder is so good single target. I kind of talked down Archer versus that Smasher, but again, I'm tired, and you killed it in like 7 shots, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many...
I didn't hit all headshots, though. So.
Okay. That's fair to mention, because the headshot damage is really what we're looking at. So, you know, headshots aren't that consistent. The best players in the world can't always hit those. But, yeah, you can do some real damage if you ADS. And even missing the headshots, you still killed it in like 7 or 8 shots. Name an AR that can do that without Affliction. Like, that's... it's pretty good. Shooting Star, I don't think it's there yet, but... Again, this is just my first opinion, so this could be very changed. Stay tuned to the new videos for more information on that. Third rail, again, Without crowd clearing, this cannot be your only weapon, but maybe it could be the secondary. Maybe you could run this on the side of a fast-firing SMG, like the Silent Spectre, the Hemlock, the Bobcat. Name a weapon that you enjoy. The third rail could be something you use against mist monsters. However, I'm still struggling with that, because yes, we saw 2 million up front, but like, you can do a lot of damage with a weapon in the time that this weapon takes to charge up. So, I don't know. I want to love it, but I'm not sure how it would be used. If you got anybody, if anybody in watching this video, oh my god, my brain is shutting down. I want to go to bed. If anybody watching this has any ideas, let me know. I'm very excited about this. And then the Discharger is just, it went from good to better, but more expensive. But nobody who is mature and has a brain in their head can argue that 3 energy cells was an acceptable amount. 30 is what it should have always been, and I think this weapon is still too strong, because that's what I remembered, Archer. Remember when I was telling you that I wanted to show a clip and I could not remember what it was? I was telling this before I recorded. I wanted to show the clip. Oh, you guys are going to get this at the end as like a nice little treat. In the very first mission of this season that I scrolled right past, I edited in a clip of us annihilating the mini bosses at the end. I wanted to show this and pretend like this was normal, but like, look at that damage. These are 502 power level smashers. 3 of them got killed by our team just shooting the Discharger. Like it was nothing. I said then, and I'll say it now, no weapon should be that strong. So not only is the Discharger still strong enough to do that, but we have a second damage to mist monsters perk to make it even easier. This was worth staying up for, but I'm going to go to bed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the future videos and streams. Twitch link down below. Exciting update. I'll see you guys then. I'll see you guys later with those videos. Enjoy.